There's one other thing you could do for me, Wizard.
What's that?
Yeah, open the trunk.
Oh my God, is it a queen size mattress blanket?
No, could you get that bloody underwear out of there for me?
I'm gonna have to put a hazmat suit on for that. That's gonna cost extra.
Welcome to Hoovie's Garage, the dumbest automotive channel in all of YouTube. And this is a big mistake, but I couldn't resist the cheapest running and driving Rolls-Royce in the USA for $4,500. I had to have it shipped here and see, well, what the heck was going to happen with it. But it came from an estate with about an 80 car collection where the owner has died, so I have no information on this car at all. Although I did buy the 1923 Packard from that same estate a month earlier, and it had very little wrong to get it running again, and I agreed to buy this before the Packard actually sort of caught fire. So anyway, a running and driving Rolls-Royce for $4,500. I mean, how bad could it possibly be? And obviously I know you know that it can be really, really bad, but you know, there's a chance. Now I know it looks really good on camera, but when you get up close, you can see it's had a pretty bad repaint on it, which means this thing will never be worth anything. It had basically a Mako or an Earl Scheib paint job in the 70s or 80s, and yeah, not done all that well. Another thing that makes this thing pretty much worthless in the US is the fact that it's a right-hand drive, which makes it worth about 30-40% less than a left-hand drive example. But 1968 is kind of a fun year because it has the hydraulic suspension working active on all four corners. After this, they only had the rear suspension as far as it being load leveling. And they got this crazy hydraulic suspension system from Citroen. So it makes it ride like a cloud, and that all appears to be working. There appears to be mineral oil still going and circulating around in this thing. And other than the paint job, it's actually in pretty darn nice shape. Yeah, you go inside, red leather interior that's not all torn up. Really, that would clean up very nicely. So it could be a driver, and you go in the back as well. Once again, not bad. I mean, I paid about half this price, about $2,000 for the Rolls-Royce seats that I made into my Top Gear replica set for the podcast. So I'm way ahead there. As far as parts value, I could sell this thing right now and it would get junked and parted out and I wouldn't lose a dime. But, you know, you kind of feel like you need to save everything that you can. And this one, well, it's just there right at the edge. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but yeah, it even has the lunch trays. So you go around it, and it is a California car, probably all of its life, and completely rust-free. So that's nice. A few little paint bubbles and things, but overall it does present pretty well, other than the crappy paint job on it, missing one piece of trim, a little bit of rubber coming off here and there. But it looks like somebody cared about it, and it was last registered in 2023. I think on the Packard it was 2022. So even though this guy had 80 cars, I feel like he kept up with them and kept them running. And this one has always ran without much drama, but boy, I haven't looked in the trunk before. Oh, I see. Yeah, see, they cared. So there's lead additive for the fuel tank. And a new battery in here. They told me they put a new battery in it to have it ship out, which is nice. But, oh, there's some, oh. That's dirty underwear. That's jockey underpants. Seriously? Oh God, that's bloody underpants. I just touched bloody underpants in the trunk of a Rolls-Royce. Oh. Anyway. Yeah, a little wrench, a center console, more clothing items. I'm just gonna close that and pretend like I didn't see what I just saw. Anyway, yeah, it is what it is. It's a $4,500 Rolls-Royce that runs and drives, and you know, you can't complain too much for the price. I just thought, well, why not? I can't lose either way. Even with shipping, this thing's worth over $5 grand in parts just being junked off. So yeah, why not just give it a try? 46,000 miles, I believe that is the original miles. The key is a little hard. There we go. It does start up. and it's always started up easily. And everything actually works in the car, so the power windows are pretty beefy. Really fast, too. The power seat mechanism works for the back and forth. The headlights come on. And here's a really cool thing. You push this button, it's kind of like an aircraft to check your lights. The warning light for the coolant doesn't work, and then you can see the fuel gauge changes for the mineral oil level. And it's saying that it's full of mineral oil. I don't know if that's true. But we have oil pressure, we have amperage coming out of the gauges there. It's above 0, even though we do have a faint generator light on. But it's above 0, so I don't know what this orange light is, but hopefully it's orange for, warning and not, yeah, you're about to die. When you get under the hood, though, of this, 1967-68 was the first year of the 6.75 liter V8. And there it is in its dual carbureted glory. Oh my goodness. Clearly not firing on all cylinders, a little jiggly in there. But also a bit tappy, and I believe it's because of the mineral oil suspension. There's little push rods right there that run the pumps in the intake. Those mouse droppings? Looks like it's petrified mouse droppings above the squirrel box for the blower motor. But it's a car. It's not dramatically leaking anything. I think this Rolls-Royce wants to live. But we'll see what the car wizard has to say. He might just totally riot at first sight of this thing. Hockey fans, the finals are here and the stakes are higher than ever, and every shift could make history. Get in on all the action with my partners at DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll take home $300 in bonus bets. From jaw-dropping saves to championship-winning goals, you won't want to miss a second. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use my promo code HOOVIES when signing up. The crown is yours. Stay in on the action and use your bonus bets on DraftKings same-game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same game, and if you love the thrill of live betting, DraftKings has you covered. Bet live on in-progress games right as they happen, making watching that game so much more exciting. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, don't worry. You can still join in on all the fun with DraftKings Pick 6 and have a shot to win cash prizes. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers, use my promo code HOOVIES and bet just $5 on any wager and get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. That's promo code HOOVIES only at DraftKings Sportsbook. See, isn't this weird? She drives. Not only that, but she drives really nicely. A little bit of power steering noise, but overall not bad. And here goes nothing out on the open road. I haven't done this yet, just a circle around my driveway. That was an interesting shift. But we're at 40. These have a GM, General Motors, 3-speed automatic transmission in them. And it's definitely doing its job. Okay. We're at 50. And it's smooth. What is going on? This is unbelievable. Okay. The only warning light, I'm getting a blink every once in a while for the fuel, which it is at a quarter of a tank. This is pretty darn impressive, and honestly, the suspension, it feels like it's doing everything that it's supposed to be as far as absorbing all the bumps, and feels wonderful. These seats are extremely comfortable, and the tires, been sitting for a long time, they're smoothing out. Now we're doing 60. What? A $4,500 Rolls-Royce? It's fine? Surely not. I mean, when I parked it in my garage, it didn't leak, it didn't drip anything on the ground either. What is happening? And just like that, 30 miles to the Wizards without a moment of worry. I'm astounded. I'm speechless, obviously. What world is this that we live in where hoopties work? What? Wizard! I snuck up on you in my very, very quiet car, but what do you got there?
We had a key made for it. It works.
Oh, on the 23 Packard, because the trunk, I could not get into it.
It will now.
Very nice. I was a little nervous bringing this to you.
Oh my God. You bought one of those?
Well, here's the thing. It was $4,500.
Uh-huh.
And they said it ran and drove. And I knew there was no risk whatsoever. If it showed up as a total basket case, it would sell for more than that for parts immediately.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, Wizard. It drove up here, did 30 miles, going 70, 80 miles an hour, no problems. It didn't leak anything in my garage. The mineral oil system is doing everything it's supposed to with the brakes and the suspension. It all works.
You don't have a brake light 1 or brake 2 light on?
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Wow.
I am absolutely astounded for $4,500.
We have to do the...
The harp.
Yes.
So there were some things that I couldn't figure out. First of all, it's right-hand drive, so you keep trying to drift into the wrong lane because you don't think you should be all the way on the right side of the road. Mm-hmm. But yeah, 1968, this thing. The hazard switch up here is pretty funny. Very goofy. But the key, it's a little hard to do, but just a little bit of finesse and it turns on.
There she goes.
So, I have no blower.
It doesn't come on?
Well, wait. I hear it now.
It came on now?
I don't know what it does. When I assume when you pull this out is when the blower comes on. And I guess that is an angry squirrel cage going in there. Mm-hmm. So there's one that's going, but yeah, basically that just died right there. I don't know what that does or if I can't figure it out as far as the way the blower motor works. And then riddle me this. What is this thing? It like has a set for 8 tracks or like cassettes weren't around yet.
Mine that I used to have was a 76. I'm not familiar with the old 68, 67 I think was the first year. I'm not sure what that is.
What would you have put in there? Not 8 tracks.
Cassette tapes or...
But cassette tapes didn't exist in 1968, so that's
true.
Big mystery. But yeah, I know the last time I brought you a mineral car, you rioted.
Yeah,
but
the reason why is because when these start to go, you know, you can't just replace one piece and call it good. It's the whole system or not at all, and it's usually 20 grand for the whole system. No one ever does it. They always say it's too expensive, so I just quit doing it.
I wouldn't do it on this one either, but it wants to live. That's I'm giving this car a choice. If it wants to live, it wants to continue to be on the roads and needed to behave itself, come up here and reasonably pass an inspection with you. Otherwise, it's just going to go to the junkyard. And this thing is fighting for life right now. The more I drive it, the better it looks. I
can see that it has been upgraded to an alternator. It obviously doesn't have AC. It probably never had AC.
I don't think so. No. Yeah. And is this a dual carburetor setup?
Yeah, those are SU carburetors. And you can actually, just like your engine, you can check the oil on them. You hear that?
Yeah.
I love that sound. Do you love that sound?
Why do they need oil in the carburetors?
It's a dampener, so it doesn't, you know, it kind of slows down the movement.
I see.
Let me look at your brake fluid over here.
Okay. Yeah, I checked that earlier, and there was a screen on it because it's just a metal tank. There's no warning lights coming on for level or anything like that.
Someone punched a little hole in the screen, but it's full.
Yeah, on the gauge, you know, where you hit the fuel button to see how full the tank is, both of them were showing full and no warning lights. It has coolant. It took a while to get up to temperature, so the thermostat might be stuck open a little bit, but still not something really to mess with. But looks a lot simpler than the later mineral oil cars that I had, you know, from the 90s and 2000s, you know?
Yeah, I heard when it's running like a ticking, it's usually the brake pumps. It has one here. You can see it's kind of crusty, but it's working. And then there's one up here. But they're working.
They're working, yeah. Just a little bit tappy, but I'll start it up just to...
Tick. Very light.
It's not bad.
No, it's not bad.
And the more I drive it, the smoother it gets, but it still might be missing a bit at idle. I mean, this ignition here looks ancient, you know?
Could be a vacuum leak. It could be a lot of things need a tune-up.
Isn't that wild? For $4,500 and no history because the owner died. It's the same guy that had the 23 Packard. He had like 80, 90 cars in a parking garage, and nobody knew the story of any of them.
Wow.
And they're just all being dumped and unceremoniously.
I do love these cars. I love the styling. I just don't like working on them because no one ever wants to put the money into them. I never really get to, so.
Yeah. Well, should we take a peekaboo underneath and seal its fate?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Well, here we go.
Kind of a wet mess under here.
Yes.
So it looks like this oil level sensor is leaking.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like this drain plug is leaking. Probably the oil pan maybe, but nothing from up above too bad. This boot is torn, but it doesn't appear to be puking fluid everywhere.
What's that boot for? The steering?
Yeah, that's the steering gearbox.
Oh, okay.
And it's just got grease and things in there. This is like a joint, a U-joint. It would need that to be replaced, but it's working fine.
Yeah. Huh.
Looks like they've welded on some exhaust here. Maybe it got hit or broken or...
Yeah, it's all quiet.
The shock's not leaking.
No, it is not.
Oh, look at there. I bet that's just spraying all over the place when the wind hits it.
The power steering?
No, that looks like oil pressure sending units and the oil filter adapter.
Oh.
There's your cartridge oil filter there. So here's our accumulators.
Mm-hmm.
And
it says danger, high pressure, do not puncture, apply heat, and relieve the cap. Okay.
Amazingly, they're not pouring fluid everywhere.
Right?
That's an old transmission. That's not a turbo hydromatic. It's back when it's just hydromatic, 4-speed.
General Motors transmission.
Yes, old school.
Well, it's doing its job.
Here's the electric shifter. So let's move on back, I guess. Let's say, actually, before we move back, here's our brakes.
This whole crazy block system, which I saw this a few years ago with the modern Bentleys, and this is so much simpler looking.
Yeah, there's a G block, there's another block. This is the brake master cylinder. Everything's dry though. That's amazing.
You're shocked. Yeah, me too.
These are usually just coated in the mineral oil.
So it had to have been redone at some point.
It had to have been. Here's our fuel pump.
Very interesting kind of undercoating, rust proofing on this thing as far as the texture under here.
Definitely is.
Weird.
You're going to see the beefiest differential you've ever seen.
Yeah, sure enough. Holy smokes.
So there's some more hydraulics there, and they're not leaking. All that business in there.
That's wild. It looks like if you touched it, it would explode, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, there's something like a level sensor here. Yeah.
That's just like a rubber boot that's disintegrated.
Oh, okay.
Those are, ride height valves.
Okay.
Our shock here is not leaking. U-joints are good. The boot is good. The brakes aren't leaking either over here. How did you get so lucky?
I have no idea.
These things are usually pouring fluid. There's some more of the valves and lines and things.
Yeah, which that does not look very fresh, that's for sure, but it's not. How is it not leaking?
I don't know. It's amazing.
Wow. Okay.
There is no leaks in the brake or suspension system really at all.
So really the big leak, which it wasn't hitting the ground, is just the oil leak. It's just the engine oil leaks around all that, which I don't know how hard it is to get to do, or if it's even worth doing. I mean,
if it's not leaving drips on the ground, it's up to you. Maybe just we clean it up and maybe try tightening them back up.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. Hasn't had an oil change in 5 years, so we could do that.
Yeah.
And if you get it to smooth out a little bit as far as the ignition, it's a car.
I would definitely do all that. With the condition of the body and everything else, I wouldn't dump 10 and 15 grand into this.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah, maybe check to see if there's a blower motor and if it's working and how much that would be.
Okay.
But this could be a car for somebody.
It could.
It's...
How do you...
I'm about to faint.
I could buy 5 of these. They would be just splooging out brake fluid. And
They would be junk.
yeah.
This is unbelievable. Well, okay. I guess I'll leave it with you. And you did mention, I guess I can take something like this home, huh?
That's ready to go. The Aston Martin is ready to go.
Yeah, poor Frank Sinatra Edition Imperial had its transmission swapped after the old one was really having a hard time. So, smooth, the junkyard transmission?
Yeah, it went smooth. Everything drives well. It does well. No more leaks. You still have the rear main seal and the engine leaking. And while we had the transmission out, we verified it is those old 2-piece seals. And the crankshaft usually wears a groove where the seals are. And even if you put new seals on, they don't seal. I've never had luck with those.
Okay, well, it was just dumping transmission fluids and the oil leak was pretty minor, so
Yeah.
I guess that is left alone. And the Dodge, I guess there was some bad news, right? Because he put it in the drive shaft and unfortunately it had a pretty bad vibration, and you're saying I need a diff?
Yeah, so the flange and the pinion shaft where the drive shaft mounts. Actually, if we go to the other side of the diff, we can see it.
Nice that it's lifted.
Yep. Right here.
Yeah.
The flange and the pinion shaft is bent, like really bad. Whenever this drive shaft let loose, it really tweaked it pretty hard.
Okay.
And in order to take all of it apart, you might as well just rebuild the diff. Maybe you can put a new axle, or the other option is to take the drive shaft off and just have a two-wheel drive. It's up to you.
I'll have to do some research on getting parts and the cheapest route and taking that whole front end. It is solid axle, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a job.
The thing we run into, and Christopher brought this up too, is there's a lot of modifications that were done to this axle to fit this lift kit and all that. You would have to find a way to transfer that over. And
So maybe a shop to rebuild it or fix it would be the way to go,
yeah,
right?
take it to a shop that probably transmissions and differentials, that's all they do. Take it apart and basically rebuild the front diff.
Okay, so I think your work's probably done here. I'll probably take the drive shaft off and put it in the back for now, and then I'll figure out if I want to leave it two-wheel drive or take it somewhere to have it fixed. So that's nice. I saw the Packard you were working on earlier, so the wiring's almost there, right?
Wiring's 90%. I'll put the lock back into the trunk so that works again, and we have your carburetor resealed.
Yeah, this is another one where it's like the guy walked away from it 2 or 3 years ago, and otherwise it was a running car, and it was just dummy putting in a new battery the wrong way that melted the wires and caused all these problems. But yeah, the carburetor, I mean, it ran so good.
Yeah.
Other than the clutch being sticky, so that's the other thing to look at.
That's the final thing. Once we get everything done, we'll get it up on a 4-post lift. I think we might be able to lube some of the components inside of there. Maybe it'll free it up.
Very nice. And speaking of lubing components, this thing lubes my components, the Vanquish, and another one where it's a British car leaking coolant, and I'm thinking, oh my god, I'm in deep crap. And it's not. It's just a hose clamp that you tightened up, right?
Yeah, we could move it by hand. We just tightened it up and took care of that leak, refilled it, did an oil change, and it's ready to go.
You went through the whole shifting with this car as far as, fixing all those leaks and things. That was going on 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And in 3 years, it's only been back up here once now because I was feeling bad about the oil change, and then it was leaking a little coolant. So this thing had no business being as reliable as it is as well. So
It's been a good car.
I guess I'm lucky when it comes to British cars now after having so many unlucky years.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Karma. It's kind of paying you back in a good way.
Right. So how are the bills on this?
Well, they're already paid.
Yes.
So this one was only a few $100, and that one, I have them in the office. You want to go look at?
Oh, perfect. Yeah. How much in-store credit's left with me?
You have $33,975.50.
Nice. Okay. So I still have quite a bit of credit left.
So it was $370.05. That was on the Aston Martin.
That's great. Okay.
It was $1,400 on the Frank Sinatra.
That's not so great. $480 for the used transmission, though. But yeah, hopefully this one will behave for a little bit because man, that thing was supposed to run and drive great according to the seller at that auction, and boy was he wrong. What a miserable drive back, and everything has needed going through. But we've run out of things, I think, to break. Maybe fingers crossed, knock on wood or whatever. But yeah, the in-store credit's making this really, really nice, and I saw the Audi outside. Is it fixed?
Yeah, it's running. Let's go take a look.
Look at you!
Yes!
You're Iron Man now.
Iron Man was my first modern supercar, I guess.
You like it?
I love it. Love it.
Yeah, you got the interior back together and everything else.
Yep, I have the rear back there. They had all kind of aftermarket garbage. I got it replaced and drives good. The coolant pipes are replaced.
Well, I think it worked out just fine. My R8 curse will never end, I guess, as far as me getting a good one, but this works out for you just fine. You can drive it and then take the engine out, do the valve seals and everything.
I will have to do struts all the way around. It has the mag ride and they're all leaking. So you dodged a bullet on that.
I dodged many bullets. I dodged a Tomahawk cruise missile with this one, basically, thanks to you. So thank you very much for that. I guess I'll drive Frank Sinatra back home.
Sounds good.
Again. Behave. There's one other thing you could do for me, Wizard.
What's that?
Yeah, open the trunk.
Oh my God, is it a queen size mattress blanket?
No, could you get that bloody underwear out of there for me?
I'm going to have to put a hazmat suit on for that. That's going to cost extra.
Anyway, enjoy it. I'm off in Sinatra here.
Ugh.
We are land yachting again in the 1981 Chrysler Imperial Frank Sinatra edition. Sinatra wanted to help out Chrysler that was going through a bankruptcy way back when with his buddy Lee Iacocca, and pinned his name to this car and did some commercials for $1 for basically free to try and help Chrysler get back on his feet. And this thing was massively expensive and massively a failure for Chrysler as far as sales, as far as reliability. They didn't make them very long, and Sinatra only kept his name to it for 1 year because of the bad reputation, and even his own car broke down on him. So me buying one 45 years later, it's still exactly the same. It's definitely an old school comfy land yacht, and you can see the quality a little bit. I mean, they were trying, but it's been a thing sorting this thing out. The electronic fuel injection was ripped out long ago, but the lean burn ignition system was still around and failing, so that was done. The climate control gone through, that's all working. Now the transmission needed to be replaced, and there were so many other things, but now we have a usable car. And as a big Sinatra fan, a big fan of the Great American Songbook and old land yachts like this, it's a cool crossover to have this thing. And I got it cheap enough. The purchase price $5,500 at auction, so I'm under 10 grand into this car. Would I recoup it if I sold it? Probably not, but I've certainly done way worse and lost way more. And as the sun starts to set here in Kansas, well, there's hope. Who would have thought you could buy a Rolls-Royce for $4,500 sight unseen cross country and show up and it works? It's unbelievable. I still absolutely cannot believe that hoopty rescue mission, with so many cars that have showed up dead on arrival and absolutely hopeless projects that I've punted, for that one to be the one that is worth saving and easy to do so, it's just absolutely shocking. Thank you so much for watching.